this is Ruben from Dutch Round 1. Thanks again for coming by. Thanks for watching another episode. I appreciate your time and I appreciate the support. Today, well, we have another grammar lesson. We are going to take a look at the word in Dutch. How we're going to do that? Well, in a couple of seconds, I will give you an overview of what we're going to see. We're going to see the translation of in some structures, and then basically all the time I will show you some examples in order to make the grammar process a little bit easier for you. But before we do that, remember to give it a like, subscribe to the channel if you want more content, and let me know in the comments if this video was useful for you and which videos you need in Dutch that I can make in order to make your Dutch language learning process easier. But without much further ado, let's go straight for the grammar. Now, the introduction. So during this lesson, we will take a look at how we translate We will focus on as a single word. So sometimes in Dutch you will see mee, voor, bij. I'm not going to focus on this right now. The preposition grammar will be taught in another video. So we just focus on as a single word. Then we'll take a look at is and zijn, there is and there are. We will take a look at plus other verbs. We will focus on as the unstressed DAAR, and we will focus on as a quantity, so expressing a part of a larger whole. So today we've got quite a bit of things to do, so let's go straight for it. Now, how to translate in English? First of all, the adverb is the most misunderstood word in the Dutch language, I feel, because many people feel that it's quite difficult to use it, but once you understand it, I think it can actually be an asset, because if you know how to use in a good way, it can facilitate your life a lot, especially when you try to speak Dutch. So it's not that difficult to use, and then the best way to translate would be there, as in is, there is, zijn, there are. Now, we've been speaking about there is and there are, so here we are at the slides and we'll take a look at the grammar. So we have is and zijn, or the equivalents of there is and there are in English. We look at the examples. Through the examples, I'll give you some more explanation. Now, is genoeg water voor iedereen. There's enough water for everybody. Zijn veel mensen in de winkel. There's a lot of people in the store. Is niemand in het kantoor. There is nobody in the office. Zijn veel dieren in de zoo. There's many animals, or there are many animals in the zoo. Is iemand aan de deur. There's somebody at the door. En zijn weinig kinderen in de klas. There are few children in the classroom. Alright, you will see that sometimes we use is and sometimes we will use zijn. Now, what is the difference? When do we use is? When do we use zijn? Now, basically, as you can see in the first sentence, you have water. In the third sentence, you have niemand. And in the fifth sentence, you have iemand. So you have water, nobody, and somebody. All of these words are in the singular, okay? So there is making reference to that word which is in the singular. So that is why you will use is, because all these words are in the singular. Now, if you look at the second sentence, you see zijn mensen, the fourth one zijn dieren, and the sixth one zijn kinderen. All of these words are in the plural, so then you will also use the plural form of the verb zijn. So you'll say zijn people, animals, and children. So exactly the same like there is and there are in English. Now, something we love in Dutch, we think it's great and we use it a lot. So if you can handle this, if you can manage it, you will sound more native, and actually you can also facilitate your life quite a bit by using this structure. Now, in Dutch, we love to use with other verbs. This can be, as said, this can be a very useful construction. Now, 3 very useful verbs to combine with We have more than one, or we have more than these 3, which I'm going to show you right now. But I think you'll get the gist of the grammar when I show you these examples. Now, if we look at the examples, we have ligt een mes op de grond. Staat een fles op de tafel. Zit een telefoon in mijn rugzak. Liggen lepels in het bord. Staan kinderen op de brug. Zitten vissen in het aquarium. Alright, so there's a knife laying on the ground, there's a bottle standing on the table, there's a phone in my backpack, there's spoons lying in the plate, there's children standing on the bridge, and there are fish in the aquarium. Now, this would be the normal English translation, but let me now translate it in bad English, so you have an idea of what we exactly say in Dutch. So the first one would be, er ligt een mes op de grond, there lies a knife on the ground. Er staat een fles op de tafel, there stands a bottle on the table. Bad English, but that is how we say it in Dutch. Er zit een telefoon in mijn zak. There sits a telephone in my backpack. Okay? Er liggen lepels in het bord, there lie spoons in the plate. Er staan kinderen op de brug, there stand children on the bridge. And there sit fish in the aquarium. All of this is bad English, but that is how we say it in Dutch. Now, why are these verbs so useful? Because we use them all the time. Now, when something is in a horizontal position, right, we will use liggen because it's laying down. And we will say there lies. And we will use it exactly the same like there is and there are. As you can see, the first sentence, er ligt een mes. Een mes, a knife, is singular, so we use the singular form of the verb liggen. So we say er ligt. If you look at the fourth sentence, you see er liggen lepels. Lepels is plural, spoons, so you will say liggen, right? So this is in a horizontal position. Now, when something is in a vertical position, we will use the verb staan, which means to stand. Again, same thing as there is and there are. So you have er staat, right? You have er staat een fles. Fles is a bottle, it's singular, so you use staat because it's the single expression of the verb staan. If you look at the fifth sentence, er staan kinderen op de brug. Kinderen, children is plural, so staan, you'll put it in the plural also. And then zitten is basically when something is inside something else, right? So we actually would say, there sits a telephone in my backpack. It doesn't make sense in English, but that's how we would say it in Dutch. Basically, because the telephone is inside of a bigger hole, which is the backpack. And then er zitten vissen in het aquarium, so there's fish inside of a bigger entity, which is the aquarium. So er zitten vissen in het aquarium. We'll put it in the plural because vissen is in the plural, and telephone will be in the singular, so we use zet, the singular form of the verb zetten. Alright, and then we take a look at as the unstressed DAAR. No, DAAR means there in Dutch, in most of the cases it refers to a place. Now when you say DAAR, you really put emphasis on that place, right? However, it can be replaced by and is a little bit more neutral. It's like an unstressed DAAR. Now, if you take a look at the examples, ben je al in Amsterdam geweest? Have you already been in Amsterdam? Ben je daar al geweest? Have you already been there? And ben je al geweest? Have you already been there? Now, what is the difference between the second and the third sentence? In the second sentence where you see daar, there's a little bit more emphasis on the place itself. As said, a little bit more neutral, a little bit more unstressed. So basically, if you don't want to repeat in Amsterdam, you can use daar, but you can also use and in this case, is the unstressed daar. Second example, wanneer zal je in Parijs zijn? Wanneer zal je daar zijn? Wanneer zal je zijn? When will you be in Paris? When will you be there? When will you be there? Again, same difference. Sentence 2 is basically a little bit more focused on the place. Sentence 3 is a little bit more neutral. So can be replaced, or daar can be replaced by and also place names such as Amsterdam and Paris can be replaced by This is the as the unstressed daar. Also take a look at the position of the word Don't worry, we'll come back to it later, but already you kind of know where we place it in the sentence, in a normal sentence, and when there's inversion. Again, if you're not sure what inversion is, check the link which is now showing on your screen, and you will find a great video about inversion in Dutch. And then we go to the last one, and that is used with quantities. Now, how do we say of them and of it in Dutch? Well, we don't really have a literal translation. We cannot say van het. It doesn't really sound nice in Dutch. People will understand it, but grammatically it's not correct. So what do? We use when it's a quantity, all right? So in this lesson, again, I'll focus on You'll see that I've written van, that will be thereof, but I will not focus on plus prepositions. If you want to learn more about plus prepositions, stay tuned, because there's already another video in the pipeline about this grammatical issue. Now, let's take a look at the examples and I will explain to you how it actually works. So, ik wil 5 appels kopen. I want to buy 5 apples, right? Ik wil 5. That would translate literally as I want 5 of them, okay? Third sentence, hoeveel appels wil je kopen? How many apples do you want to buy? Or hoeveel wil je? How much or how many do you want of them? That would be the literal translation. So we take away apples, right? And we replace it by Why can we replace it by Because you have a quantity. In the first sentence you have 5, that is a number, so that is a quantity. In the third sentence you have hoeveel, how many, how much, that is also indicating a quantity, so you can replace apples with And you can translate as of them or of it. Alright, so now let's take a look at the position. So where do we place in the sentence? Now, plus other verbs, as in there is, there are, is, zijn, liggen, staan, zitten, and so on. We'll place it in the beginning of the sentence, right? Will be our first word in the sentence. For instance, is een feest in de stad. There's a party in town. Or after the finite verb, if it's a question. So, is there a party in town? Like you would do in English, your there would be after is. So, is een feest in de stad? Now, as a replacement as in unstressed DAAR or as in a quantity. Alright, so we'll place it after the finite verb in a normal sentence. Ik ben al geweest. Okay, so ik is your subject, ben is your finite verb. It is the verb which adapts to your subject, and then geweest would be your past participle. But the most important thing is is straight after your finite verb. Now, when there's inversion, alright, as you can see, have you been there already? Ben is your verb, so it's in front of your subject. That is what we call inversion. Then you will place after your subject. So this is the place where we put Other verbs, or there is, there are, and so on. In the beginning, when it's a question, you just place it after the verb. When it's a replacement, normal sentence, after your finite verb. And when there's inversion, you will place it after your subject. Okay, and then basically we come to the end of this video. I want to thank you for watching. I hope I made a little bit clearer. I find to be very misunderstood. If you know how to use it well, it can actually be an asset to your language skills. So I hope you find some value in it. As for me, I'd like to thank you for watching. As always, I appreciate your support and I appreciate your time. Remember to give it a like. Subscribe to the channel, and if you want more content, and let me know in the comments what you thought about the video, if it was helpful for you, and which videos I could make in order to improve your Dutch language learning process. As for me, thanks again, and as always, keep it 100. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for the next episode of Dutch Round 1. Ciao.